The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera, and by ShootProof, the easy way to proof and sell your photos online.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join hosts Trevor Curran and Joseph Christina as they chat about the art and business of photography.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 123. I'm Joseph Christina here with my co-host, Trevor Curran. On last week's episode, we talked about iOS 7 bugs, Lightroom 5.2 update, the new Nikon 1 waterproof ILC, and a free Office product offering from Google. If you haven't watched last week's show, I encourage you to do so. You can find it at our website, digitalphotographycafe.com, in iTunes, listen with the popular Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox music apps, or watch in HD on TiVo.
Hey Joe, we're back. How you doing?
Very well. We are back.
Yes. Another week.
Another week.
So we got some
excited.
Google Plus news this week, huh?
Yeah. Google Plus, right?
Yep. The social network of photographers, apparently.
Of choice, right?
Yeah.
As they say, the photographer network
of choice.
Of
right.
choice. Google Plus. I like it. We still use, Google Plus a lot. I like it. They're now offering some improved RAW to JPEG conversion and some other stuff. They continuously buy companies. One of them has to do with image processing and, so on and so forth. And now they're offering this stuff online for you to use. So they're just making it a little cleaner, a little nicer. I think they offer, it's like 70 cameras, I think, to date. But they continuously offer new camera profiles for RAW conversion and whatnot. And supposedly they're getting these RAW conversions right. And they're doing them, and they look fantastic.
The samples on screen look pretty good. I mean, you were able to bring in RAW images before, but now they've just improved them.
Right.
And the color and the sharpness and everything does look a lot better in the samples that I saw. But I guess, you and I kind of talked about this, like, why do you want to bring your RAW files into Google Plus anyway? I mean, one would think that if we're photographers and we're sitting here with Lightroom and other RAW converters on our desktops,
right.
I mean, why wouldn't we just convert the photos to the JPEG in the quality that we want and upload a smaller file, a much smaller file than a huge RAW file? And if you're sitting on a slow DSL modem or something like that, it's going to take forever to upload that thing.
It's not feasible. When everyone's sitting on fiber, to your house,
story.
It's a different story. And then a lot of this cloud functionality would become, just it'll be everywhere. But for now, I mean, it's moving the data, moving the bits around. Down speeds are usually very high. Up speeds are, is where you're having your bottleneck. So
that's right.
Yeah, I can't see. Let's say you do a wedding and you got like 1,000 or 2,000 pictures, and they're like, let's say 20 megabytes a piece. Can you imagine uploading those into Google to go and do any kind of editing?
I don't think you would do that. I mean, I think the idea being is that you take the one-offs, one or two, you upload them, and then you're kind of done with it.
Share them. And go and share them on
Google Plus.
see the
need to want to upload a RAW photo. I mean, I guess unless you're out and about and you're with your laptop or something, and or you're connected with one of these new Wi-Fi cameras that allow you to share your images and what have you, then I guess maybe I could see that, but I don't know. Practicality standpoint, I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think if Google can make this, instead of like you're having to send the pictures to them, let's say the pictures remain, on your computer, and maybe the sidecar, which is just a small data file, small text file, gets uploaded, and somehow it does that manipulation over there, and then sends the RAW file, the sidecar back for the conversion. Or maybe the program that's doing this, instead of uploading the RAW file, you're actually doing this work on your system without sending it. So maybe it's 100 meg HTML5 or Java applet or Java something, and now all of a sudden it's a Lightroom-esque type of feel, but it actually lives. The client lives on your Computer, I could see that a little bit because now you have, great functionality of this quote unquote software and all of their great, conversions and whatnot. But
Sure.
it's still, you never having to upload a file and it just, it remains on your computer. I could see them doing something with that, but as it stands like this, I mean, I don't know. I mean, one off, like you said, I think is probably about it.
Yeah, I think so. I just don't see the it's not scalable. It's not going to work for any large number of photos. So
Yeah, I agree.
But Apple updates the iMac this week. Yeah, we like the iMacs. Good machines. A lot of power for the price. It's definitely a lot cheaper than buying a Mac Pro tower. If you're in the Mac camp. I mean, you have iMacs there. I have Mac Pros here. But I tell you what. I mean, unless they come out with a Mac Pro that is really warrants me getting one of those.
They made the wok holder, right? Where you can heat your wok.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Well, the photos we saw on that new one that's supposedly coming out later this year, that's what it looked like, right? You
Yeah.
can cook stuff on it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, unless it was something really significant, I don't think I'd get one. I'd probably go for an iMac.
Yeah.
They're powerful. They're all in one,
Yeah. In the studio, I mean, we have all iMacs, all the 27s, and we have them fully loaded with RAM to the hilt. Core i, the 7s, the fastest that were available at the time, 3.2, 3, whatever it is, just maxed out, and they are phenomenal. You have an amazing screen. You have it's a workhorse. You have great computation in the back end. They're really pretty quick for what we needed to do. And they just simply work. This thing is just basically the new ones. They're slated to be thinner. Their big push is, of course, aesthetics and
the
from
design, the form factor of it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
I mean,
the edge is micro,
design,
right?
I mean, the last iteration of the iMacs, they gave the illusion of it being so thin because the outer edges were very narrow, but then there was like a big bump in the back. Where the table, the table stand mounted and stuff.
Exactly.
And this is kind of the same design, I'm sure, but it's, they say it's 40% less volume than the previous generation, 75% less reflection, which is cool, on the screens. I mean, that's really good. And they're individually calibrating the monitors at the factory.
Yes, that's good for photographers. We know that our Apple our monitors are always really, really sharp, number one, but also, the colors are pretty accurate. Even once we do run, obviously like a Pantone, a U Pro or something like that against the monitor to really calibrate it to what it needs to be, because we want to be able to soft proof stuff before it goes to press.
Sure.
And really know what we're going to get before we get it, so to speak. So you mean, as a photographer, we're going to do that anyways, but it's nice to have something that's already pre-calibrated at Apple, for really quote unquote true life color, where they get the Kelvin right, to begin with. So it's not that far off to try to, repair it after the fact. So
right.
that's
Out of the
cool.
box, Apple's machines have been pretty good across the board. I've had really good color with them. I mean, it also depends on the monitor you're using. I mean, the iMac's obviously the built-in monitor, so that's going to look good. But if you're using an external, either as a secondary monitor, or if you have a Mac Pro and you're using a cheap, LCD or something that you picked up for $150 at Staples, then you kind of get what you pay for with there. There's only just so much you can do with that.
There's a bit, So these are going to have, you have the ability to do the i5 or the i7. It's got the Turbo Boost 2.0 in it. What's cool though, is it does have the new NVIDIA, the Series 700s, which are really nice in comparison to the onboard Intels. Supposedly much faster, so that's really great.
Yeah, a lot more
they
power.
They do the fusion drives, like they have a couple of, a couple of releases now. Whereas they're dealing in flash RAM for stuff that need, for the expeditious type of read writes.
Right.
And then anything that needs to be corned sits someplace, then they write it to an actual hard drive. So that really improves speed of boot up and whatnot. Even if you don't have quote unquote an SSD in the machine itself, it's already doing some of this, flash type stuff in the back end, which does improve speed, which is cool.
Oh, absolutely. It improves it a lot, for sure.
That's really big. And then Wi-Fi. They went with AC, which is the new
They
Wi-Fi.
got the fast Wi-Fi. The Thunderbolt with the two channel 10 gigabytes per second. Fast
per port. So you got 210.
per
I mean,
port.
that is fast. You know, you're looking at, what is it? Twice as fast as USB 3
Yep.
and like 12 times as fast as, you know, the general, the 800
the Firewire 800.
that we.
Yeah, and I mean, only a few years ago, Firewire 800 was like that was the fast standard.
Yeah.
You know, but now, I mean, it's blowing that away. It's just it's not even comparison anymore.
No, it's not even the same ballpark. And then, of course, Bluetooth 4. So, you know, it's well-rounded. It's basically, you know, the usual Apple's planned obsolescence. They come out with a new one, and now we're going to buy it. That's just, you know, that's what they do. They're a hardware company. They don't care, you know, they care less, you know, pretty much about the software. They're making their money on this hardware, and they turn it over every 6 months to a year, and that's just how it is. So this is cool. You know, it's I wouldn't say more of the same, because they definitely have some innovation to it. I don't really care that they push so much that it's so thin, just because they made the edges really thin and beveled it in. And then you have this more thicker, meaty, you know, portion in the back end, like you said. Yeah. It's like, you know,
well, that's it. I mean, I guess design, from a design standpoint, I get it. You know, sitting on the desk, and, you know, if you've got like a corner desk, or, you know, in some cases you're in a cubicle, like in a corporate environment, and you know, really you don't see the back. You really only see the front and the edges. And having what appears to be like this super thin monitor on your desk, and where's the CPU? You know, and it's like, oh, it's all.
It's all enclosed
it's
in
kind
there.
of cool, I guess, but
everything is melting because it's so hot. Speaking about melting, real quick, the machine that I use for moving around from job site to job site, we got the Air, and I think we talked about this in the past, Trevor.
Yep.
My Air that I use for the business, it decided to implode. Mm-hmm. The SSD drive decided to die with, check this out, 4 days left of the year warranty.
Yeah, you lucked out on that one, bro.
Does that ever happen? Notorious to be like 4 hours after the warranty expired. That's right. When
the next day, then it would completely break. Yeah,
catastrophic. You know, implode. And yet, sure enough, the SSD drive is dead on this machine, and that kind of makes me a little bit worried going forward. Obviously, we don't keep any data on there. You know, it's all operating system data, but it's going to be, you know, a pain, obviously, to go and, you know, install the entire Adobe suite and all the rest of the stuff all over again. But, you know, here you go, you know, more of a reason to go and purchase the Apple Care, right? Number one. And number two, it kind of speaks to how Apple's, you know, QC is just not, to me, what it used to be. I mean, I had a G3, you know, I had an Apple II Plus, but anyways, you know, as far as in the business side, you know, we had the G3s, and that thing would run, you know, 8 years straight, never had a problem.
Even my Mac Pro, I mean, it's a 2006. It's still running strong.
Yeah.
You know, it's really good. Now, I agree. I think some of their QC has maybe fallen by the wayside a bit since Steve's passing, because there's no way. I mean, that man would let, you know, inferior products out on the market. You know, they're now, you know, unfortunately, I think it's becoming more about the bottom line.
Yeah.
You know, they want to continue to produce a quality product to keep the customers happy and coming back, but there's dollars involved, and you got the bean counters there. And, you know, with the iPhone 5, I swear to this day, and I will always say this, that they know there's a hardware problem with that phone, and they just basically ditched it in favor of this new 5S and 5C. And they will just keep replacing the phones with refurbs for anybody that's having problems until their contracts are up, and then they're going to just say, oh, well, now you can upgrade.
Yeah, the insider track on that, according to what Apple insiders would say, is that no, we did not ditch the iPhone 5. The iPhone 5 is now the 5C, and we just changed the encasing into this plastic thing with the metal ring, blah, 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 and everything remained the same. Yeah. If you believe that, you know, I have some more land over here in Florida in the swamps to sell you, because that is just cannot be the case, because they don't want this stuff back all the time.
They don't want it. Exactly.
But anyways, moving on, right?
Yes. Yeah, so this article came through this week, and it was one of those holy crap type of things when I read the headline. But it came through on Petapixel, and they got the source from a couple different places. But the headline says, model sues Getty after seeing herself in an HIV positive advertisement.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So the girl takes a picture with, let's say, a photographer a year or two prior. Then all of a sudden, all of her friends are contacting her. Hey, you're HIV positive?
Yeah.
She's like, what? Yeah. So
thinking she's a spokesperson for HIV.
Yeah, it says I'm positive.
Yeah. Oh man, that's really bad. So she's like a 25-year-old girl from Brooklyn, and she's now this poster child for the HIV community. And basically, she's not HIV. She's had a lot of awkward conversations with friends and family, employers, potential partners, let's say.
Yep.
And so she's going through a lot of crap now,
Oh my
This is really bad news. So she's suing Getty for $450,000 in damages.
Right, in damages, sure.
You know damn well that photographer is going to be getting sued. You know the Division of Human Rights is going to be getting sued for defamation of character.
And that's the ad. That's the ad. Then the ad. Then of course the ad agency.
Whoever put the ad
suing
together, whoever bought the photo.
It's like the whole list. You got Model sues everyone. That's going to be the beginning. Then you got the Division of Rights suing the agency suing Getty, and Getty sues the photographer, and the photographer has the holy crap moment, and craps his britches because now he's being sued by Getty, and he's got to come up with the release and show him the release, and somehow make the case that, hey, she signed that I can use it for whatever I want, I promise. But then he put in there something that he should never have, which said something that to the paraphrasing, except for any type of pornographic or defamation of this person's character, is actually in there. So, I mean, number one, it's going to be an attorney sausage fest.
Oh, yeah.
That's number one. And number two, the photographer, like you guys and I am, may have shot himself in the foot by, instead of keeping his agreement, more general and more, less specific, went into this detail that he probably should have just not put in, because, we're not attorneys. And sometimes, we'll go on to, some type of site and buy some forms and go and use them and not vet them through our local attorney. And this might not be, a good thing. You think that it sounds all legal and it sounds all nice, and, you have all these rights, and all this stuff. And then, come to find out, you said something in this thing that she signed that is now going to just kill you, and you're going to end up bankrupt because you're not going to be able to afford the tens of thousands of dollars of attorney fees. So it's really bad news for everybody. The problem is the photographer didn't fully understand Getty's usage rights, usage agreement, right?
And there's a lot of fault all over the place here.
Oh, it's everywhere.
So the photographer is taking some responsibility for that, which basically they could get in big time trouble for.
Getty needs to vet all of the pictures. That's their responsibility now,
well, that's right. When anybody submits an image to Getty, there's this big form, this big process that you have to go to submit that image, where you're filling in all kinds of information and what have you. So the model, the photographer said that they never contacted the model to let them know that they were going to sell the photo, and this is like 2 years after the shoot,
right?
Which, if the model release is structured properly, technically he doesn't really have to.
No.
But because it's being sold to a stock house, because it's her likeness that's being sold, probably would have been a good idea to do. And now they are, now you've got the ad agency or whoever bought the image. Now, when you buy a stock photo, a royalty free, you buy it, you agree to their terms that are on their website,
Sure.
You download it, and you use it according to those terms. If this were a rights managed image, and I know this because we've dealt with Getty many, many times purchasing, rights managed images for a lot of big clients, and we really need to fully understand the usage. And they ask, where is the photo going to be used? What is it going to be used for? Oh, it's going to be used in print. Okay, what publication? What's the circulation? What is the ad subject? What is the subject of the ad? They're supposed to ask all of these questions to confirm that the photo is being used properly.
Right. So
now, somebody dropped the ball somewhere.
Exactly. Did Getty not ask? Did the ad agency not give,
tell.
didn't say? or actually, said something that was incorrect. This is going to lead down a crazy rabbit hole. And the bottom line, when it's all down to it, the little people, the photographer that probably has, that's probably barely making a go of it, because that's normally how it works as photographers.
Yep.
And that's number one, and a major effect. And then, of course, the girl who is now, this poster child, for HIV. I mean, the ad says, "I'm positive." Underneath it, it says, "I have rights."
Right.
And, in this situation, the ad agency should have put, a little thing like lawyers do. I'm not an attorney.
Right.
I'm a lawyer spokesperson. This is a model. This is
and
not
that's
really someone with
Getty's,
HIV.
That's in Getty's terms of use here. I mean, you're supposed to say, in the copy that these, the images depicted here are models, blah, blah, blah. And, if that copy is not in there,
that's not on there.
The ad agency is definitely at fault. This is a whole big thing. There's a great conversation about this on Reddit, and we'll have a link in the show notes. I definitely encourage you guys to go over, read the Petapixel article, read the other articles that they've referenced. We'll have all those links in the show notes. This really is a topic. And if you think at any point in time you may sell images to stock photography sites, you really need to be aware of what those terms and conditions are, what the user agreements are. Make sure you are covered. And for God's sakes, make sure you have business insurance. Yep. You need that liability insurance. This is what helps to cover you should you get sued. Yeah. And you know what? $1 million, I think, would be like the bare minimum.
Yeah, that's what we run in studio. We're at $1 million, $2 million on some shoots.
Sure, you can get riders for specific occasions for that. And things. Yeah,
and we've done that since day one. It's very, very important. But guys, if you're trying to create a model release of any kind, vet it with a local attorney. It'll cost you $100, or whatever, just for them to look it over.
Let them have pay for an hours of their time to go through it. Even if you buy one of these online forms, take it to them and let them read it over. Let them make any revisions. Do what they need to do. If you can get it as a doc file or something that's editable, that would be best. Then you can email it to them. Then they can just easily re-edit. You don't want them to have their assistant there re-input all the text.
Yeah. And all too often you see photographers are just getting started, and they get they go on, then they get these online forms, and just like I said earlier, they are different from state to state. They are not nationwide. It is very, very specific to your location and where the pictures were taken and this type of thing. And and if you're going to put something together and you don't know, make it very general. Make it don't get into all of this mumbo jumbo that you don't understand.
Well, don't
you might
be shooting if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah,
you're better off to be more broad. Sure.
And this could be one of the perfect examples of that, being so specific on the pornographic as well as defamation in that contract. If that is there as we believe that it says that it was, that would be extremely, extremely bad for that photographer. Whereas if they would have just left that out and just said, "Listen, blanket, I own the rights to this. I can do anything.
Use it for whatever.
I could use it for basically forever. You sign here, and that's the end of it." Right. They would be on much better footing for sure.
Yep, that's right.
So, all right, before we go any further, let's go ahead and take a quick break to hear from a couple of our sponsors.
Are you frustrated with slightly out of focus images when you know your autofocus spot was dead on? It's simply not your fault. From manufacturer to manufacturer, and even lens copy to lens copy, there are slight variances to the exact spot where light is being focused onto the sensor. Finally, there's a product that allows you to compensate for those variances and make sharper images immediately. Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool, is an absolute must for every photographer. If you want to make the sharpest images possible, then you need to take control over your camera's focusing system. With the Focus Pyramid, you can calibrate all of your lenses on your lunch break. The Focus Pyramid makes lens calibration quick and easy at an affordable price. So give your lenses a new lease on life and take your photography to the next level. Head over to focuspyramid.com/DPC and get an additional 10% off just for being a show listener. As photographers, we're always trying to increase sales and profits after every event.
We shoot an event and have hundreds or even thousands of images that just sit on our hard drives.
Perhaps a better workflow would increase sales by getting those valuable images in front of the client.
That's where ShootProof comes in. At shootproof.com, you can have an online gallery for all of your clients' proofing needs.
ShootProof helps increase profits while building your brand and securing your photos without charging commission fees on sales.
ShootProof galleries display your photos beautifully while helping to streamline your workflow and automate more of your business through their intuitive studio control panel.
Once approved, photos can be directly fulfilled through ShootProof's various professional lab partners or fulfilled by you.
All ShootProof plans have the same feature set. You simply choose the number of client photos stored, decide what products to sell, and the price.
Try ShootProof today by taking advantage of their free 30-day trial offer.
As a Digital Photography Cafe viewer, ShootProof is offering a 20% discount off any of their premium plans by using promo code DPC20 at checkout.
ShootProof. Upload, share, sell, print. Okay, so we're back, and you know what? It's getting to be that time of the year again, right? The holidays are coming, Christmas, Hanukkah, everything is starting to come up on us. Of course, Halloween and Thanksgiving. Halloween's always fun. That's always a fun photo op. A lot of people really get into Halloween. They want to do these dress up things and stuff like that. So, but needless to say, the holidays are coming. It's time to really start thinking, if you haven't already, what your holiday plan is going to be for your business, what your marketing plan is, and what your sales plan is going to be for this time of the year.
Yeah. Do you have one or do you have nothing? If you have nothing, you need to make something. If you have one, you really need to calendar it and figure out exactly what you're going to do. So, a couple of things, both techie and non-techie, kind of starting out with the techie side of it because, we're the techie people and I know you're Mr. Social Media. So, a couple of the things that will really help out. Number one, you could do Google AdWords. It's definitely beneficial, especially if you can be very specific to your location, and you can these days. They're getting very, very localized on the AdWords. That's great. Banner ads on, let's say your Chamber of Commerce or some other site that's very, once again, localized. You don't want to do a banner ad that's, hitting a 200-mile radius. That's not going to help you.
No,
very
a good,
specific.
yes, I like that idea. A local website that gets a fair amount of traffic, whether it's your chamber website or, there's, other town associated websites or what have you. Yeah, something like that. That's a good place to get a banner ad for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You got social media, of course. So the whole social media side, it doesn't matter if it's Twitter. You got 1,000 people that are following you on Twitter. Let them know that you have some type of specials going on. Same thing with Facebook. Same thing with the Google Plus that we're just talking about. Wherever you are, put out those ads, whatever you develop, those offers, those special promotions, because, that's free. That is free.
It's free.
That's just your
That's
time,
right. And I mean, if your followers are all other photographers, then you're not really utilizing social media the way you should be. You really need to get prospects in your followings so that way you can communicate with them. Now, a lot of people are doing this really well on Facebook, with their pages. They're getting people to come in and fan their pages so they can like photos from their shoots and stuff. So that really is a great venue to run your promotions like that. Twitter, I mean, if you've got a diverse bunch, I mean, you may see less results, but why not put it out there? You never know.
Yeah. Once again, it's free. Free is good.
That's right.
Anytime you can advertise anything for free, you get one person, you're doing fantastic. Another thing that works out really well is, in the past I've talked about, putting your images onto these fulfillment sites where, as you don't have to deal with the order, the purchasing of your, let's say you do events or whatever, you put, let's say, your 100 pictures from that event online, you give everyone a link, they go there, they take a look at it, they order 4x6s, 5x7s, 8x10s, whatever, and the fulfillment location prints it and sends it to them and basically sends you a cut. If you've done this in the past, which hopefully you guys have, which I have, I probably have, let's say 1,000 events on there. What you could do now is take all the links to all those little albums, right? And now send those links to the parties that, the album is for, and their friends or whoever is associated with those. That is fantastic, because some of these people, let's say it's an event that they, have a picture taken with the mayor. Well, maybe someone wants that picture for a Christmas gift or a
Sure.
Hanukkah gift, framed or something.
Well, yeah. I mean, you've got a wedding, so a bride and groom has, had the wedding. You've got all their pictures up online, and now they're like, oh, what do we get Aunt Sally? Oh, you know what? I just remembered we've got this great picture on our album online there that we could have printed, and we could send that to her. That's a great idea. It's a great way to get some residual income going from work that you've already done. It's a great, opportunity to promote it out again. And do it through email. You've got your email campaigns that you can do. I mean, if you've been, taking down all the information when you get new clients and you've got email addresses compiled, get them into MailChimp or another service and start running your email campaigns, promoting, your holiday sales events and stuff like that. Again, you're not broadcasting to just everybody. You're broadcasting to people who you have email contacts. Past clients and prospects that you've met along the way.
Right. So your open rate will be extremely high. It's
That's
not
right.
going to be like the 2, 3, 5% or whatever. It's probably going to be more like 30, 40, 50% open rate. So yeah, it's a positive thing. It's a good way for you to keep in contact. Number 2 and number 3, of course, it has that way of, making those sales after the fact. There's no,
right.
images just sitting there on a hard drive do not collect any additional revenue.
Nope.
So if you don't put it out there, no one will know that they're even there. I'm notorious.
Don't forget about them.
Yeah, I'm notorious for doing this, and I really have to make it a point to make sure that I actually do as I preach, because it is so important, and the amount of extra income that you can make during the holidays is great. So
just from sending some emails, and even if people just order reprints, that's side money that you don't really have to do any work to get. I mean, if you're of course you're going to run promotions for shooting sessions. That obviously is work, but that's fine. You're making more money off that. So,
Absolutely.
It all pays off in the end. And you got to get this stuff on the calendar. Even though photography in general may not necessarily be seasonal, but people think about it during the seasons. They think about getting their Christmas cards together, their portraits for the holiday cards, and they think about all this stuff. So you really want to hit now. You want to hit during that whole Black Friday, Cyber Monday type of deal, because people are in the mindset of buying. They know that the holidays are coming now. Oh boy, Thanksgiving's done. Now we got to start doing our shopping.
Yeah. And some people think that, we're a photographer. We're not products. We don't offer but literally we are a product, and everything that we create are products.
That's right.
So yeah, we're definitely in tune, let's say, with the holiday season as far as sales. So this is the time, and now we're telling you that now to do it, because this is the time when you need to do it. By October, you should be at full force, all ramped up with your books full, or at least orders being put through and whatnot.
That's right.
Because November come through, and then things start getting kind of crazy. December, and you might as well forget it. You get this big bell curve, and the whole thing starts dying. Come December, sales will start dying out, because at that point, people are just making those final purchases, and they're not setting up photo sessions. They're not, these type of things. So
that's right.
But moving on to from techie to non-techie, because everyone thinks that print is dead, and it really isn't. A couple of the really big things that you can do is simply send out postcards to past clients. Number one, you can look into the newspaper or local flyers, local magazines, just like we were saying. Hit the local social media sites, like the different websites that are local, like you were talking about the Chamber of Commerce or whatnot. Hit the local magazines, the different local rags, where you can actually put an ad in or whatnot. Radio spots work really well.
Yeah.
TV, not so much.
Radio spots are a little more costly, usually because of the production involved with them. But if you have it in your marketing budget, it's probably a great idea.
Radio is really good. And another thing you can do is possibly give away some photos to past clients. Do maybe 4x6s, maybe even smaller, maybe a little 3x, whatever it is. Give your past clients something for nothing. And by doing so, it kind of puts them, puts you, top of mind again. And they'll, if someone says, hey, do you know a photographer? I know this great guy. He's just like that. He just sent me a photo. I didn't ask for it. He just sent it for nothing. It was like a gift. I can't believe it. And they will start recommending you again. Whereas, in their mind, you might have, fallen off the
Out of
the
sight, out of
world.
mind.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
You know, along the lines of the mailings, you know, you have different opportunities. I mean, creating postcards, sending them out is great. How are you going to send them? So, you know, you can go to the post office, you can ship them out through there. They can do that bulk mailing for you, or you can find a local mailing service who has their own list. They've compiled their own list of residents and stuff like that. And you can really drill down and really segment them by zip code if you want to target a particular zip code. Maybe one area is a little more affluent than the next town over, so you want to make sure you hit that zip code. Another way to do it, you know, I'm always chatting up the Chamber of Commerce, but I know my local chamber has a piggyback mailing that they do. And you can print up your flyer and give it to them. You take like 700, 1,000 of them, however many members they have. Right. I know my local chamber has a lot of members, and they will actually stuff it in the envelope and send it out along with all the other mailings they're doing, and it costs a fraction of what it would cost to go pay for the postage yourself.
Absolutely.
So that's
because you're paying just a small fraction because there's a lot of other people involved in it. So dividing it up, absolutely. Right. Other companies like Overnight Prints, maybe Vista. There's a bunch of people that actually print, and not only do they print, they have options of mailing those prints to a client or a client database. So you can actually print up, let's say, postcards, or maybe your favorite picture or flyers or whatever you want to do, and then upload to them your database of mailing addresses, and they will actually facilitate everything from the actual printing of them to the labeling them and the sending for a small fee per each or whatnot. It might be a good idea also where you don't even have to touch these things, and you might have 1,000 clients, and now all of a sudden, you are only sending a small text file of addresses, and then your
it's being sent
PSD
out for you.
or your JPEG or whatnot of the image that you want to send, and it's all done for you. You don't have to do anything. Yeah, so that's kind of cool.
The new technology, the new press technology that they have out there now, is really amazing. I mean, they have digital presses that can do all this type of beautiful full color printing on really great stock, and they also have the ability to do these mail merges where that database will just basically be imprinted one-off on each piece coming out of the machine.
Right.
And they can even do this in high volume too through offset printing if you need 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. And they're able to actually do this in line as it comes out of the press. They go through the cutter. They can actually dump them in a machine, and it'll run through, and it just inkjets them on. That's the way packaging is done with expiration dates and stuff. It's the same type of technology. Yeah. So really cool, really great ideas. Definitely start thinking about it. Obviously, this is on the top of our minds as well as business owners, that we need to start reaching out to our communities, our clients, and try and drum up that holiday business while
that's right.
people are in the buying mode.
That's right. Past and future clients for sure.
Right.
So, hopefully that helps out you guys a little bit. But we need to get out of here, Trev.
We do need to get out of here. That's right. Good show, good information. Hope you guys got something out of it. Definitely check out the show notes because we've got a lot of really good stuff there, good links and everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Joe, if people want to connect with you outside of DPC, how's the best way for them to reach you?
You can find me on Twitter, of course. That's at Joseph Christina, and that's Christina without an H.
Yes, and you can connect with me on Twitter. It's at Trevor Current.
All right, everyone, we are out of here. You can get all of our show notes for this episode by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com/123. And don't forget to send your questions and comments to comments@digitalphotographycafe.com or simply call 440-345-6707. Once again, that's 440-345-6707, and we will see you next week.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe show with Trevor Current and Joseph Christina. Be sure to subscribe to the show for free in iTunes or through RSS. You can also listen on Stitcher and TuneIn Radio and watch in HD on TiVo. Visit digitalphotographycafe.com for show notes and to connect with your hosts.